World's Wildest.
Hello.
Connor, do you know what episode this is?
69.
Guys, we're at episode 69 of World's
Nice.
Wildest. Can you believe it?
And we're talking about animals. No?
We probably should have. Now that we think about it, yeah, it would have been awesome to do like an episode on
Animal
some reproduction.
intercourse positions.
Some boink. You know what? Actually, that is an interesting concept. There's a lot there. There's a lot of like, because there are bugs that'll go like, you know, butt to butt. And then there's like the normal what you think of.
Yeah.
Or like humping. And then
does any of them look each other in the eyes? I just think it's like a Dwight.
Probably some apes, perhaps.
I think like Dwight from The Office says one species does it.
Okay,
So.
well, that's fiction. So.
No, he's real to me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, maybe another
It would make sense for us to talk about all that stuff on episode 69, but we're not talking about any of that today. We're doing a not requested at all episode where we talk about wildlife rehabilitation.
I think it's cool. I got some stories.
Yeah, I think we've touched on it. Like we've touched on it a few times, just in talking about other things, but we've never really like dove in to our wildlife rehab experience. Before we dive. We're also on Patreon, if you guys didn't know that. If you want to check us out on Patreon, there's a bunch of bonus content over there. Would really appreciate it. Also, these mugs that we drink out of, every time Connor has a non-alcoholic drink in his mug today, these are for sale as well. If you are interested in buying a World's Wildest merchandise item, these mugs are for sale. Okay, so wildlife rehabilitation, what is it?
Ooh. So wildlife rehab didn't become like an official thing till like the 80s. Before the 80s, it was just people doing pretty much whatever. There were some laws and regulations. Like my mom grew up taking care of raccoons and like releasing them. Like the cop would bring her family raccoons to rehab. They were like the rehab family for raccoons. She would get bit all the time.
Yeah.
She has scars that she likes to show.
Right.
And like, I was like, Mom, rabies vector. Were you worried? She's like, well, it's rabies. I got essential oil. It's fine. No, I'm just kidding. But it's become more of like a professional thing.
Yeah.
In the early 2000s. Really, there's some pioneers in the late 80s, but it's basically where you take an injured animal, you take it through medical visits, through rehabilitation, both physical and mental, and then if they're fit enough to go out into the wild, they're released, or they are either euthanized if they can't go out, or put into like a zoo or ambassador type of position.
What does mental mean?
So like training, like getting them to learn how to hunt, teaching them like with vultures out in California, the California condor, they brought them back in from the wild after releasing them from their breeding program, taught them that power lines were bad. So they built the fake power lines in their enclosure, and every time they land on was a giant horn. So it scared them.
Yeah.
And that's actually been passed down generationally too, which is awesome.
So crazy. Yeah. So that's the gist of what wildlife rehab is. Is your wildlife rehab experience in Alaska only?
No, Georgia. I got certified in Georgia.
Oh. I didn't know that.
I took
Maybe I did know that and I forgot that.
3 hours and I failed the first time because I was too medical.
I failed my falconry test the first time.
It was too I was too medical about it because I had a lot of vet tech experience. And they wanted more generalized stuff. And I'm also not very good at taking tests, but.
So you're saying you were too good at the test and so they failed you.
Exactly. I could have wrote it better. It was actually kind of rough.
Okay, so talk about your wildlife rehab experience.
Well, it was like Alaska a little bit. None of them actually went out to the wild until I went to Georgia and then Tennessee with American Eagle Foundation.
Right.
The rest of them was like rehabilitating orphans to become ambassadors. And I used to like bottle feed moose and muskox and stuff like that and habituate them. And then went to Georgia, back to Georgia, got my certificate, started doing stuff through the animal hospital. In Georgia, you have to actually like have a facility get permitted for you to do like legit rehab. So I operated between a few licensed rehabilitators under their permits to do things and help them out. But I was licensed myself. I just didn't have a facility. And then went up to Tennessee, the American Eagle Foundation, which I'll talk about some cool stories there, where they did a lot of bird of prey rehab specifically. What about you?
Cool. I did some wildlife rehab in California, with shorebirds, like on the
I
coast.
didn't know that.
Yeah, and
Okay.
then a I did some wildlife rehab with the zoo that I was an intern at, Birds of Prey.
Okay.
And then I worked at a wildlife rehab center. I was on the board of directors at a wildlife rehab center for I think 3 years in
Okay.
Texas.
Yeah.
So that's where most of my wildlife rehab experience comes from. So species wise, then in California, shorebirds like grebes and stuff like that.
How was that?
Short. It was short. It was cool. I mean, there's like
what could you do with them, like, other than, like, kinda put them in, like, pools and, like
I was a volunteer there, and they actually did a good job, and so I barely got to see these animals, right? Like, there was
Right.
a baby bird room where we would go and do feedings and stuff, but it was all, like, behind a towel and, like, noise barrier, and you couldn't talk,
Wow.
you couldn't look at them. Yeah, they do a really good job there. But yeah, so I didn't get a ton of hands-on experience there. In Texas, I did oh my gosh, I don't know, so many birds of prey, owls, so barn owls, screech
Yeah.
owls, great horned owls, um, red-tailed hawks, broad-winged hawks, Cooper's hawks, kestrels, raccoons, opossums, squirrels,
Opossum.
cottontails.
Nice.
And I think that's and then, like, a couple foxes and some skunks.
Right.
But that's it.
Ooh, can I tell you about the time I illegally trafficked wildlife?
Yeah, incriminate yourself, please.
I think it's past time. So in Alabama, they are like if it's not an endangered species, if it comes into rehab, it's just euthanized.
Mhm.
Back when I was doing it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So I didn't actually look up the laws, but like Auburn, where like I was trying to do some rehab work with them because I was pretty close to Auburn on the Georgia side.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Yep, if it's not endangered, like we just will euthanize it. It's a state law." And so
Yeah.
I took their word for it because it's Auburn. So there was someone that was, you know, I don't know, a mile into the border on Alabama that was like, "Help with this fox," and I ended up going to get it, brought it across to the Georgia lines, and then that fox was actually critical to help fostered a ton more foxes for that year at a place called Aware, Atlanta Wildlife Area Rescue.
Yeah.
And the vet was like, "Oh my God, where'd you find this fox?" I'm like, "I'm not telling you." They were like that's so weird because they wrote an article on it or something like that, and it was able to help get like 3 litters out before they released it as well.
That's awesome.
So it was really cool.
So what species have you done wildlife rehab with? Foxes, moose, musk oxes.
Lots of eagles, osprey, fox, bats.
Osprey I've never done. I've never done bats either.
Bats. I mean every bird of prey. I mean even golden eagles and stuff like that. Every U.S. bird of prey.
Yeah.
I never did rabbits. I never touched rabbits.
They're not very fun. Oh, armadillos.
Never did armadillos.
Impossible.
I bet.
For me. I'm sure there are rehabbers out there that are really great at it, but we were never able to rehab armadillos. Sad.
I had the whole police department where I was at the vet clinic for like the past year. They would bring me all the deer, and I had to say
deer as well.
I was like, stop bringing me adult deer that were hit by a car or poisoned because they would just die.
Just patch up, yeah.
But like I would try.
Yeah.
And the vets there were like, I don't know, like have at it. So I kind of got to play veterinarian under their license, all legal. All being a wildlife rehabilitator, the vets only know so much, and they do a lot with you. You work in tandem with them, so you can't do surgeries and you can't prescribe medications. But other than that, you can do a lot of like veterinary things. So for people that might not want to go to vet school, they can get that kind of itch out of them, especially for me.
True.
That's how I did it.
Yeah. Let's do a quick shout out actually to wildlife rehabbers while we're doing this episode on them. This is it is a relatively new thing, and I'm always shocked at how many people don't know that it's a thing that exists. So tons of people find baby birds, especially, right? Like fledglings and stuff like that. There are lots of people who have raised baby birds on their own, and they don't even know that it's an option to bring them to wildlife rehab centers. You can and you should do that, because for birds I'm getting on my soapbox.
Please.
For birds in particular, birds will imprint, right? Baby birds will imprint on a species. And that's a physical change that happens in the brain of a baby bird. And it's an irreversible physical change inside of their brain. And that imprinting is the process by which a bird identifies with a species. And so the reason that you see, if you have like ducklings, right? And you see ducklings following adult ducks, that's because those ducklings are imprinted in that adult mom duck. But if you raise ducklings as a person, ducklings will follow you around the house. I did it growing up. It's the cutest thing ever because they imprint on humans very quickly. And that's really important for birds because it teaches them what to be afraid of and what to eat and where to migrate to and how to find shelter and who to mate with, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But it's a problem if they imprint on people. And imprinting happens in a lot of ways and it happens very fast. Yeah. So imprinting can happen if you're feeding a bird and it sees you. It can happen if you're feeding a bird and it hears you but doesn't see you. And it can happen freaking very quickly. Like it takes very little for this to happen.
Can I tell you about or when you're done?
And it just reduces the chance of that bird being able to survive in the wild by a ton. If not, it just eliminates the chance of it surviving on its own in the wild. So if you find a baby bird, never raise it by yourself in your house. Look for a wildlife rehabilitator in your area. On the Alveus website, we have resources for like how you can find one, and you can put in your zip code and find ones around you, and then make the call and drop them off, and then let the experts handle it.
There's also Animal Help Now is an app as well that will give you they keep it up to date too of whatever veterinary places in your area will take it. So there's two options.
Alveus on our website too. We have a cool chat widget. It's called Found an Animal on our website, and you can put in what animal it is, and it'll ask you questions and then feed you responses. And by the end of that chat conversation, you'll have an answer as to what to do.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as fast imprinting, at one of my previous jobs with a previous boss that is no longer there, had a orphaned eagle that we did all the puppeting. We built a huge box. I had Netflix for eagles playing on it, but it got imprinted to the timing of our food and the sound of doors opening and closing. And it only associated that with food. And it was released out into the wild. It gave all signals and cues that it would do okay, but ended up like begging for food from people. And it was, crazy. I would say it was the rehab was 90% done correctly.
Yeah.
There was 10% that would be like, there's some picture opportunities that I would be like, maybe not. But that bird ended up coming back to that same facility and is a monster.
Oh, see, okay, that's another problem with imprinting. Imprinted birds are weird birds.
They don't know boundaries.
Yeah, they act weird. And they also, a lot of times, get really hormonal with people. A lot of parrots are imprinted. Stompy is imprinted, which is probably the reason that Stompy tries to mate with people all the time.
Yep.
Because that's the species that they identify with, right? So yeah, imprinted birds can be an absolute nightmare, especially birds of prey. It can be really dangerous.
So dangerous. Big female bald eagle.
Oof.
Massive talons already.
Wow, that's crazy.
Messed up a few people. Still around, gotten better, but like still just doesn't understand boundaries.
Man.
And you have to train them differently than you do a traditional bird of prey because it's like a very excited dog that wants to jump on you and like be with you.
Right.
So
Abbott and Coconut, the crows at Alveus, are imprinted birds. Very obviously imprinted birds. And Abbott, when he was younger, they should never have released him, to be very clear. But they wanted to try to release him, even though he was very clearly imprinted. And so they released Abbott, and he didn't feed himself for days. And then like a few days later, he was just landing on random people in the park, just screaming at them for food like a baby bird would to its mom. So sad because he didn't eat for days, and then they got calls and they were like, there's a crazy bird, like probably thought he was a rabid bird or something, like landing on people. What a nightmare for some random person in the park. But he got picked up again, and that's why Abbott is non-releasable. So that's what happens to imprinted birds in the wild. So if you find a baby bird, you will imprint it if you try to raise it yourself. Like you heard what Connor just said. Like that's crazy. With a puppet and all. For those of you who don't know, to avoid imprinting, rehabbers will feed birds with a literal puppet. Connor and I have both done this, where you put a puppet on your hand, and then you feed them so it looks like you're a bird feeding them.
Very lifelike, like bald eagle, the condor ones we saw at San Diego.
So good. Yeah. San Diego Zoo has an excellent condor puppet. And you can't make noise, or you have to play noise of of that bird. Yeah, I have what other methods have I used? I've done puppets. I've done boxes, cardboard boxes with like photos inside the boxes, and tweezers through like a window.
Yeah, that works.
And I guess that's it. I've done masks as well.
Okay, yeah. I've done full
like
camo
wearing
stuff.
A mask. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a hard task.
I'm interested in, well, first off, if I would say volunteer at wildlife rehab centers.
Yeah.
If you're interested in this, get your hands dirty. It can be super rewarding. But I want to say there are good and bad rehab places. And what I would say is a majority are coming out to be a lot better. So I would say you just need to make sure people aren't taking animals home to like take pictures with and kind of make them pets. I would say that's the biggest red flag.
Yeah.
But I would say as we've seen this big shift, as it's become more of a professional industry, we're seeing a shift to younger management that are doing really, really good things.
There are a lot of people who do rehab at home,
though. As long as they're not using them as pets. Because I'm going to show an owl that we took home during COVID to become an ambassador. It was a little bit different. Cool. But it's like, I'm going to show some stories of 2 black vultures, and they were someone's pet.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And like, we're just taking pictures and posting them on social media for that. Birds in particular, now mammals are a bit different. Mammals, most of them can't really get imprinted. They can just get really habituated, but you can take them through a process called demanning, unless you're talking like bears that are like super smart. But like I've done this with deer, foxes. You slowly remove human reliance and human contact from that animal over like a long period of time, like months, until they rewild themselves, and then you can release them back out into the wild.
You know what the easiest mammal I think to rewild ever?
Some sort of cat?
Bunnies.
Oh, yeah.
So easy.
Give them like 2 or 3 days.
Days.
Yeah.
2-3 days.
And the instincts kick right back in.
Yeah, and these are rabbits that are like being bottle fed by hand.
Yeah.
No puppets, no masks, just bottling them. Because they're so naturally afraid of people. Raccoons are so hard to rewild because they're just so freaking smart and so curious and so bold and brave. I didn't really like rehabbing mammals at all, actually. I love opossums. And they're very cute and very fun. And like raccoons are sort of fun, but I could go without rehabbing mammals.
You ever do deer? Baby deer?
Deer, yeah. Good amount of deer, a lot of squirrels.
I did the deer, I did it through a demanning process, and she was last sighted like 2 or 3 years ago, and she'd been out for like 6 years.
Wow, that's awesome.
So she was released on a farm, so it was nice to see her around. But I would say the only like the biggest red flag that you guys have to look out for is as long as people are treating wildlife like wildlife and not pets, then it's a good facility.
Yeah.
So that's my only recommendation.
Yeah, valid. Yeah, we get the question probably more than any other question ever. What can I do to start working in this field? Like I want to work with animals or I want to do something conservation related. I always tell people volunteer at an animal shelter or a zoo or a wildlife rehab center. Look at one of the 3. Pretty freaking awesome. It's a lot of fun. And is super rewarding. Really mentally taxing though, because and this will start a whole different conversation, but in wildlife rehab, one of the toughest things is that you spend the most time with and you get the most attached to the animals that are the sickest because they need your help the most. And the animals that are sickest are obviously the animals that are most likely to die. Or you have to be the one that chooses to euthanize that animal.
That's so hard.
Yeah, it's so hard and so sad. The animals that are like fine and come in and out of rehab in even a day.
Yeah.
You don't get to know those animals at all. So it sucks that it's that way. And I can't even count how many animals. I have no idea how many animals have died that I have rehabbed, but it is dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, it sucks. It's really sad. But we have a lot of success stories as well.
Yeah.
This is how my career started, and you guys all know the story, so you're going to hear me say it again. Bean. was a red-tailed hawk. When I was an intern at the zoo, we had a bird of prey yard, and my boss was a falconer. And we got a call about a bird, a hawk, a juvenile red-tailed hawk that was stuck in a barbed wire fence.
That happens more often.
It really happens all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, why would they why would they be aware, you know, of a fence when they're
Yeah.
just flying around? Like, they shouldn't have to think about obstacles like that. But anyway, he got stuck in a fence and he was hanging from a fence and he was emaciated because he was hung there for a while. And so brought him into the center, or brought him into the zoo. And my boss was like, "All right, time to learn how to be a rehabber." And I'd never done any wildlife rehab before, so this was the first animal that I was a part of rehabbing. And when I say a part of rehabbing, I mean I should not have been doing this. Brought the bird home night 1.
Oh.
She gave me the tube and everything.
Oh, tube feeding too.
Yeah, I had to tube the bird in my bathroom alone. Night 1. Yeah. So tube feeding is when you have a big syringe and a plastic tube that you have to put down into the stomach because they don't have the strength to eat themselves.
Granted, birds
by
are
themselves.
the easiest ones to probably do.
Birds are the easiest to tube, yeah. But yeah, oh my god, tubing opossums, baby opossums, because they're marsupials, you know, so you gotta go all the way. Oh, anyway.
I'm terrified to put in their
You have to go all the way like down.
Yeah.
You can't just put it like in their throat. It's a whole thing. Anyway, sorry, I digress. I had to tube feed this bird night 1 on my own, and I'd never done rehab, and so I'm in my bathroom learning how to tube this red-tailed hawk. Successfully tubed him for, I don't know, I think at least a few days.
What were you tubing him with? I'm just curious. Like, what food was critical care a thing?
I think
back
it was
then?
critical care, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Because it was a paste that I mixed, so it must have been critical care or some off-brand. I don't know,
sure.
Whatever. But yeah, so tubed him and then had him in a crate, and then he started getting better, and then we began like the rehab process. This is what Connor was talking about, like the mental process of it all. So I got jesses on him, which are the leather pieces around his ankles, and started working on getting him to fly again because he was unable to fly at this point. So we were doing lots of jump ups, which is jumping from the ground up to my fist to get food, to build muscle, doing some like flight training where he's going like, you know, a yard and then 3 yards and then 10 yards and then 20 yards. And then hunting training, where I would give him essentially like a box with a live rat in it, or a live rat pup in it. And he would practice hunting live things. And then eventually Bean got better to the point where I was able to release him. And so I did release him. And the Alvea Sanctuary logo is
what? Behind you. Above your head.
The logo's behind me? Oh! Wait, why do you have this? You stole this from me?
No. You gave that to Kayla and I forever ago.
What?
Yeah.
There are multiple?
There's 2 of those, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know there were multiple. I had this in my house last night. This is the Alveus logo. This is where I released Bean at Bishop's Peak in San Luis Obispo, California, and this is like the topography of Bishop's Peak. And Bean was the red-tailed hawk, and so the Alveus logo is that mountain with Bean in the logo, and this was Bean. Beautiful, beautiful little guy.
So much darker.
So hopefully he's still out there freaking thriving.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, that's Bean. Here's a picture of me and Bean in college.
Nice.
Amazing.
You had the good falconry glove too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, here's Bean in the grass, Bean in my front yard.
Are you excited to get Birds of Prey back at Alveus?
Yeah, I think it'll be good. Birds really surprised me. I was never into them before.
Same.
I was into them, and then I was like, wow, I love them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it'll be good.
Oh, emaciated.
That's not Bean.
Oh, emaciated bird. Well, I've got kind of a little bit different of a story for Rehab.
Okay.
And it was an owl that we took home that didn't do well, or it was a failed rehab. And we got to take it home because it was during COVID to train it. And she became a great ambassador. So, back in. All right, so her name was Ruby. Here's a picture of Ruby.
Great horn?
She is a baby great or juvenile.
Wow,
great
yes,
horned
little
owl.
baby.
So Ruby kind of has a tragic story. There was a belief that someone intentionally took out her nest, but it could have been a storm that took out her nest when she was a baby.
Okay.
But there was a lot of human intention around this.
Why would some
because they
people
wanted
have beef with great horns?
For their dogs, but also there was a lot of in Tennessee. There was a lot of wildlife and a lot of nests, and people were developing that area very fast at this time because Dollywood was just like really blowing up.
Yeah.
So during like the COVID times when the government wasn't really working, people took that to their advantage to cut down bald eagles nests, to cut down other nests to develop that area.
Boo.
They also did this during the short government shutdown, and they got away with it. So this was a suspicion. She was doing okay on some like lower branches, and the parents were feeding her. But there was just so many people who just kept congregating and take pictures and like get close to her and stuff like that. And they were like trying to like help. The mom wasn't really bringing in enough food, so they started dropping food for the mom to take over.
Who's they?
Just wildlife rehab.
Okay.
Local wildlife rehabilitation people.
Interesting
And
strat. Okay.
it was working.
Yeah.
And then something happened again. There was it's like people were just being butts and just congregating. And she got spooked, Ruby, and flew off, hit a tree, broke her wing.
Ugh.
And they tried to pin it at the University of Tennessee College of Veterinary Medicine. It was like really good at raptor rehab. Tried to pin it. It did not work.
Can you tell them what pinning is?
Pinning is where you join two bones with a metal rod surgically. And because bird bones are hollow, it's a lot harder. And there's a lot more that goes into it. So she was then brought to the American Eagle Foundation. COVID hit. And at the end of this, I'll talk to you about why we went through the imprintation process and why that's so important. But we, as a facility, decided, and we got special permitting because it was COVID, to bring her home, and we put her in our guest bedroom. And here's a picture of that. We had the fan off, obviously. Took all the pictures off the wall, had a tarp over the guest bedroom, put her on top of a crate. She had lots of toys, water, food, and we covered up the window so she wouldn't fly into it. And then the next picture is us getting a little bit closer to her. So her left wing was broken.
Yeah.
And we decided that we're just going to be with her all the time. We're going to get her so comfortable to people because that's the best time to do it, to reduce the amount of stress that she's going to have throughout her life.
For sure.
And then here's another picture of Ruby being super cute.
Amazing.
And then this is her doing a little crop drop, just letting the food kind of move down into her stomach. And then here's Kayla doing some training with her. It was training, I don't know, 2-hour sessions a few times a day. We were intense. We also did a bald eagle.
2-hour sessions a couple times a day is crazy.
I mean, it was all day. Like I think Kayla got a little burnt out too, because we also had a bald eagle right after this, a juvenile that we trained this way. It worked amazing for the bird.
Yeah.
But it's just like a ton of work.
Yeah.
So and then here, so we only had her there for a few weeks, and she came around to people super fast. And then we took the lockdown kind of reverted, and so we ended up doing shifts of people so we could take her into quarantine. And here is a video of me with her trying to teach her to eat off the glove.
She's so confused.
I never knew.
She is so confused.
She never figured out while I was there how to eat off the glove. Like mentally, she just
her wing?
couldn't figure out. Yeah, that's her wing, her broken
Wow, it is
left
so
wing.
far down.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yep, it's really messed up. So she was the sweetest, gentlest great horned.
I don't know, man.
I don't know
how they do it.
That's a kestrel glove too, by the way.
Oh, yeah, little one.
Really thin.
She's so confused.
And then here's another video of her enjoying her enrichment.
Stop.
I made a TikTok with this and it went viral. She loves it so much.
She's on a, what is that, a ball or a plushie?
It's a stuffed chicken.
Chicken.
Supervised.
Plushie. Supervised.
And she's balancing on it. She's like she's playing with it. She's not really trying to eat it. She's just jumping on it and whatnot. But we were able to deck out her room to look more natural and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So the reason why we did this the way that we did is there's been this new wave of research involving cortisol, which is a stress hormone that you can measure in blood and feathers. Feathers, you can see the deposit of that hormone over time. And doing some, there was a lot of research done where it showed that birds that were, or owls that were adults that came in and became ambassadors are generally super stressed.
Mm-hmm.
They might look calm,
yeah,
they might look content, but they're actually just what's called learned helplessness. They just sit there and freeze.
Yeah.
But if you get a human raised owl, there's no stress. It's much better for them. So here is
less stress.
Less stress. Here is a position statement. We have a PDF here we're going to pull up. It comes from it was the International Association of Avian Trainers and Educators, and on page 2 space, they have their position statement, which is it supports the use of human-reared owls in ambassadors and animal programs. It strongly discourages the use of parent-reared owls in ambassador animal programs because of the stress testing that they have done in the research that has been out there. So that's why it was important for us to spend all the time with Ruby that we could, because she was just on that cusp of becoming an adult. So we only had a limited amount of time to imprint her.
Right.
And she kind of became this nice balance of like wild enough to like not be dangerous, but comfortable enough with people to like just have a really good quality of life and be a great ambassador.
Great. So where is she now?
She's still at the American Eagle Foundation. Okay. I think she's doing shows at Dollywood, but I could be wrong.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, she's come out on the glove. She's not asked to fly or anything. Obviously, she can't. So
right.
She got a real cush life now.
Cool. Great. Yeah. The rehab center that I was at in Texas had a number of ambassadors as well, and that's what I was doing. At on the coast in California was outreach education more than like the day-to-day feeding rehab stuff like that. I have another. Well, funny enough, actually, I probably should have picked a different one because my other story is another red-tailed hawk.
You did 2 red tails.
I've done a bunch of red tails.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
But this one in particular, actually, the whole process kind of happened on stream, so you guys probably remember Tina. I don't know why her name was Tina. I'm sure chat named her for some reason. But this was a bird that came in. I don't remember if she was hit by a. I don't think she was.
Were you crayons flying this one on stream?
Yes.
Okay.
This is a big female red tail. Yeah, I don't remember if she was hit by a car or she was just emaciated for some reason, or poison. I don't know. They're all
right.
It's all a blur. But when she came into the rehab center, she was like, when they came and got me to look at her, I thought that she was dead in the
You called me.
I used to abuse Connor's line when I was a rehabber. But she was in this crate and she was face down, like head down, face down, like bird's forehead to the ground.
Jeez.
Like beak facing her butt and like wings like splayed out on the side. Like she was laid down on her face.
Jesus.
I've never seen a bird like that ever. And I was like, oh, the bird's dead.
Right.
She was not dead. And I was like, we got to euthanize this bird. Like this is the worst I've ever seen. And then she like we like stood her up, and when we sat her up and I was looking at her and I was like, what happened to this bird? She was on the perch and she was standing there. And I was like, okay.
I remember a picture.
So you're capable of standing. Yeah. So this is a picture of Tina. When I brought her home, and she looks awful. Like even from this picture, she looks awful. But she was insanely skinny. You can feel a bird of prey's weight by touching their keel, which is like their breastbone. And she was one of the skinniest birds I've ever felt.
0 out of 5.
Yeah. Just I mean it was concave.
Yeah. Which means no muscle mass is a scale 1 to 5, 5 being like super fat.
Yeah. And so I brought her home, I tubed her, tube fed her like I was telling you guys about before. And it was a really long process. She hung out in my bathtub. Eventually she got to the point where I was able to feed her bits and she was taking the bits from my hand in the bathtub. Here.
Nice.
Mind you, this is a bird that is now an adult, so this bird cannot imprint anymore, because she's an adult. Only baby birds are imprinting. So I was feeding her by hand and without a puppet and whatever. But she was able to take bits out of my hand. And then I started flying her Anacreonts to get that muscle back. I started doing jump ups with her Anacreonts. I did a few instances of hunting to make sure that she could catch her own food. And then I released her on stream. And so people watch that. That's one of the few releases I can remember crying at. Because I did not think that she was gonna make it. So Tina was a really special bird to me. And then bunch of red tails. Do you remember Dip and Dot? I had
so
2 broad-winged hawks babies.
Yes.
And they came in and I was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
Because I've never, they're the only broadwings I've ever seen in my life.
I think we were like trying to ID them.
Yeah.
I was
they came in and I was like, what is this baby bird? And I had to text a bunch of people and found out that they were broadwings. So that was cool to raise because I didn't know anything about them. They're like mini red tails. Really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool birds. And then
I did one broadwing rehab. Very cool. I did one broadwing rehab.
And then so many songbirds. I rehab so many songbirds.
I dislike doing songbirds.
Me too. They can eat a lot.
Yeah. I did American robin one time. I was like, I'm good.
Yeah. I've done a lot of robins. I've done bluebirds. I've done blue jays. I've done painted buntings. And the other, this is not a good thing. But well, not a good thing. Rehab centers are not supposed to rehab invasive species, obviously.
Right.
So, like, if you bring in an invasive species like European starling or European house sparrow, rehab centers are supposed to euthanize those birds because they're damaging native populations.
I knew people that keep them as pets and like had aviaries for them.
Right. Yeah. And so, so that is an option.
Yeah.
I've been around rehabbers that will rehabilitate and release invasive species though, just because they're like they feel bad, which is not good for the populations, but is a really tough decision to make with those individuals.
Because if you're a rehabber, I mean, you're in it for the individuals. Like, that would be so hard to do. Yeah.
Speaking of which, people ask me a lot of times, like, why don't you do rehab anymore, or why don't we do rehab at Alveus? It is such important work, and it feels really powerful to undo some of the damage that humans are doing. But at the end of the day, for me, what I decided with rehab was that because I have if I didn't have a platform, I'd probably still do rehab.
Right.
But with my platform and the resources that I have and the amount of people that I'm able to reach, I think that I can do much more for the natural world, putting my time and bandwidth into education, larger scale, like zoom out and conservation, larger scale, than putting countless hours into an individual to release into the wild, because especially into a population like red-tailed hawks or raccoons or opossums or something that is not endangered. Whereas there are a lot of species that I feel like need my help, that I can spend more time on and maybe make a difference in,
To me, sometimes rehab felt like putting a Band-Aid on a problem instead of going to like the core. So
as a conservationist.
But
as an animal lover, you change the world for countless individuals, and that is like so special.
It's so worth it. And I think it's good that any conservationist that's dealing directly with animals goes through something similar.
Yeah. No, I agree.
It's really good foundational knowledge.
Good hands-on stuff.
I can give you my last 2 ones.
Okay.
We've got vultures here. So these were the red flags I was talking about. A lady in Tennessee that no longer has her license, thankfully, had these 2 black vultures, very cute, but had them as pets basically. There was pictures on social media of them riding on dogs, on her shoulder, and vultures like to poop on their feet. So there's poop marks everywhere. That's how vultures cool themselves off, because they can't sweat. They poop on their legs and feet. So they were confiscated by Tennessee Department of Natural Resources.
Hooray!
And they were given to us, and they were taken to the Hack Tower, and we did as well as we could to like demand them or get them rewild, but there was already a decent amount of damage done. But they ended up passing all of the tests and all of the requirements to be released out into the wild. And we basically had to do a little bit of fear training with them, with people.
Yeah.
And they're smart enough to know, like, maybe like not to mess with people. They were released, and that was me on top of the Hack Tower, which is like 3 stories up. That's them on top of the building.
Huge.
And that was after we released them. This was during COVID, so it was just Kayla and I doing this. Ended up having to scare them off from here. But after that, they weren't found again. Like they would have came back to the area if they were still imprinted.
Yeah.
And never got calls again about it. So
Great.
hopefully they're doing great. They're
That's
very
the other hard part
cute.
about rehab, huh?
Well, I'm hoping one day technology gets there and maybe Alves
Track
or Window to
everything.
Wildlife can make some trackers that are cheap enough that rehabbers can afford them. And we can put them on these releases to see if all our hard work is actually going to some good and like it's lasting. But I also might not want to know the answers.
Yeah, sometimes.
So, but if it's more than a 50% success rate, then that's worth it. So that's like average with wild numbers. And then the last thing, I really enjoyed osprey rehab. They're smelly, they're crazy. We have a picture of me doing some osprey rehab. And they're really tough because they're really, really scared of people. But it was we didn't do anything particularly innovative at American Eagle Foundation, but we were just really good at rehab and osprey, really diligent. We kind of like had to force feed them a ton.
Yeah.
But they always did really well. And we had some ospreys that attacked people often.
In rehab?
Yeah.
Wow.
Did you have a lot of attacks in rehab?
No. Raccoons. Yeah.
Ooh.
But not really birds of prey.
Okay. That's good. Nice. Yeah.
Cool.
Love some osprey. Love all the bird of prey.
Neat. All right, guys. Well, there you have it. If you find any wildlife, make sure you find a wildlife rehabilitator. And we hope some of you get out there and volunteer with wildlife rehab orgs. It's for everybody. Any of you can do that. You don't need a special fancy degree or any other experience to volunteer at one of these places. So get out there and try it. Go learn would be very cool. Thank you for watching this episode. Like and subscribe. We will see you on the next one.
Goodbye.
Bye.